just a few more months. Thank you, Senator Whitehouse, for hosting us here today, but also for your tremendous leadership on the ongoing, your relentless, persistent determination to save the planet for the children. And I saw some of it on my phone that you presented, your visit to Brazil, and I want to associate myself with the remarks of the distinguished House Democratic leader, Mr. Jeffries, because he put it all in perspective, from being God's creation to the kitchen table of the American people in terms of the cost. One other part of it that he referenced in terms of natural disasters cost people, family, life, livelihood, character of their communities, but also cost the national treasury hundreds of billions of dollars to make up for this. So what is the point of this, except that they're in the pocket of the fossil fuel industry? We're there to use every resource we have to save the planet, to make things affordable for people. My invitation to be here was to talk in a little bit of a historic thing. My first COP, it was so early they didn't even call it COP. It was 1992 in Brazil. Our delegation was led by Senator Al Gore. While we were there, he made one of the most spectacular Save the Planet speeches you ever heard, right after the Dalai Lama. It was a religious and a scientific meeting in Brazil. Then we couldn't find him. We were supposed to all have dinner. We couldn't find him. He was called away by Bill Clinton to ask if he wanted to be Vice President of the United States. So that's just placing it in time and history. I just left Al Gore at the funeral of Dick Cheney, and in those days, this was not, we had bipartisan delegation to go to some of these meetings. That was then, and this is now. This is so important to our society, it's a challenge of a generation. This issue is, of course, a values issue. That's been said again and again, but let's start with, it's a health issue for our children. Clean air, clean water, just saving the planet for them. It's an economic issue in terms of green technologies, and for us to be preeminent in the world instead of cutting off the funding for tax credits that enable us to be that, as they are doing with the IRA bill. It's a security issue. Security issues, we go around the world and study migration and the rest, much migration, especially from, the Northern Triangle in Central America. Many people were coming to the United States because of drought. They couldn't farm, and they didn't have food that they were growing for themselves. So it's a migration issue, and a migration issue is a security issue. So it's health, it's economic, it's a security issue, because we have the encroachment of deserts, the rising of the sea levels, the droughts, floods, everything else that goes with it, as the distinguished leader mentioned, that so many of the natural disasters. And it is a values issue, as was mentioned. If you believe, as I do, that this is God's creation, then we have a moral responsibility to be good stewards. But even if you don't, we all agree that we owe it to our children as a value to pass on this planet in a way that is sustainable. And they have no belief in science. That it's the strangest thing. If science says this is what is causing the more intensity of storms and the rest of that, and government says we should do this, they don't believe in science and they don't believe in governance. So two no's do not make a right. So we have a real problem here. And I will just close, did I say that already? By saying this. On this subject, and you both have taken us to this place, we have to have truth. We have to have truth in how this is all presented. That's not what they're doing. And we have to have trust in the policies, in the appeal that we're making to the American people to understand the connection to their kitchen table, their energy bills and the rest. Second, in closing, when I was Speaker the first time, this is my flagship issue, President Bush was president, we passed the most fantastic energy bill working together. He wanted nuclear, I wanted renewables. We had a big celebration and a very big bill. President Bush, Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. And of course we then went from energy, which is part of the climate issue, but then to the climate bill and passed the climate bill in the House. We couldn't get it passed in the Senate. It was, filibuster, don't want to go into that. But then under President Biden, we were able to do that with the IRA legislation. So progress has been made. Now they're pulling it back. And why? Because it doesn't even go through the brain. Just the money goes in the pocket, the vote goes on the board, and the president insists on it. With that, I yield back.